It's Wingbacks time for the tier list. Wonderkids, I hope you're excited. Strap in. A lot of people have been wanting to know what my tier list are for the wingback positions. Before we take a look at the first player, just to give you an idea of the players that are involved, I did not include any that have a fixed potential in this version because there is 17, I think, players in the 180 and the 170 potential range, and the ones that have a fixed potential tend to be the players that are slightly more expensive, the Reece James of the world, who you're very much less likely to pick up on the game compared to some of these Wonderkids. So, if the player you are thinking of is not in this list, that's the reason why they do not meet the category of 170 or 180 potential range. Let's have a look at the first one. And of course, like all of the tier lists that we have done so far, this is what they look like at their maximum potential. So I will go through each one and you'll see exactly what they look like. Starting off with Alejandro Balde from Barcelona, 17 years of age, a left back. Not a lot of people are speaking about him. They also have Juan Miranda in there. He's one of the fixed potential guys that does miss out the 20-year-old. This time though, this guy's absolutely fantastic. Great physicals out where you can see. Really good going forward. Average at best in defensive and mental departments where we put him on the tier list. So to kick things off, I think this guy, because of how well-rounded he is, I think we put him in the B tier. I think he has great physicals and those like 19 for pace or acceleration, one of the two, just makes him slightly better. The mental attributes I did mention was a weakness, but it wasn't to say that they are the worst mental attributes that you can see. And again, there was hardly any weak points across his whole thing. I think every single one of his attributes were a 10 or above. Now, the next man on the list is one of my favorite Wonderkids on the game, and that is because it's Caligari. He is the Brazilian player that we did a Wonderkid spotlight on, and for a very good reason, because he's absolutely fantastic. Great physicals. Again, his mental attributes are better than Balde. He has a lot of 15s here, including vision and work rate, because he can also play in centre midfield. Defensively, he is better too. He has great tackling, along with his good long shots, passing, and going forward there. Crossing 15, dribbling 17, first touch 16. The guy is fantastic, and he is probably around about £10 million. 10 to 15 million pound is where we picked him up before. Where does he sit on the list? I'm going to say we're going to put him above Alejandro Balde, but in the B tier. I think there are better players on this list. I just think he should be here. I like him a lot. I think his price has to be taken in consideration here. Balde can be very expensive at the start of the game. You can pick him up for cheap later on if they decide to let him go. But Caligari you can pick up right at the start for a fairly decent price. And he's good at the start of the game too. I used him in the Streamer Showdown. That's how good he actually is at the start of the game. Plays centre midfield, better defensively as well as going forward. He's a very high on this B tier. He possibly could be A tier. The Canadian is up next, the Bayern Munich left back Alphonso Davies. Now, this is one of two players who are in the 180 potential range, and for a very good reason. Alphonso Davies, although at the start of the game doesn't look like one of the best players, to be honest, he does grow, and when he is set to 180, a lot of it is put into his physicals. And that is a good thing, of course. We have done a lot of tests recently on what is the best attribute group, and 20 pace and 20 acceleration is absolutely fantastic. He does also have good aggression, so if you are playing a gegenpress formation, he does very much suit that, with also good work rate and teamwork. So the mental attributes are there too. Technical attributes, good dribbling, good fast touch, slightly poor defensive attributes, but where does he sit on the tier list? Personally, I think because of how good his pace and everything is, I think he needs to go in that A tier. He's not quite as good to be S tier, but I think A tier is perfectly where Alphonso Davies should sit. Now, this player alone should be put in the S tier just because of how great his hair is. I'm very jealous. David de la Vibora, and he plays for Real Madrid. So we've got two of the big Spanish giants having a name on this list already. And if we look at this player, arguably the best mentally that we have seen so far. A lot of 15s and 16s there, and even a couple of 17s dotted around. If we take a look at his technicals as well, he is no slouch. A good crosser of the ball, great fast touch, marking, passing, and tackling. Or 17. That's fantastic for a really good attacking fullback. His physicals is what kind of lets him down though. At the moment, he only has 5 strength. Of course, he doesn't have any fixed attributes, so that could change whenever you set these players to their maximum. But so far, 5 strength, it's not the best, is it? But still, I think we can rank him quite high. So I'm going to stick him underneath Alejandro Balde in that B tier. I think he's better than the C tier. We're going to see a couple of players I think slot in there, but I think David should possibly be in that B tier just because of how good he is technically and mentally alone. He's going to create a lot of chances. He's also very good at defending your net, although very poor strength, but he has great hair, so it's what you prioritize really, and for me it's the hair. Valencia's now chucking in a man into the fold. Jesus Vasquez, 17 years of age. We've kind of seen this player a few times actually through different videos that I have done on the channel. Now physically he has great acceleration and balance. The pace is still 14, that's still good. He's 6 foot as well, so that's not bad. A good strong player, 14 strength. The weakness that David had beforehand, this guy has. Now he also has the great mental attributes that David had, and the technicals are absolutely fantastic, if not better than David Villa-de-Bora. Tackling 18, passing 16, marking of 17. So defensively, he is solid as a rock. And going forward, great crossing, dribbling, first touch. Everything here looks absolutely fantastic. And that is why I'm going to stick him above Alejandro Balde. And he's going to go in that B tier in behind Caligari. Is he better than Caligari? Not for now, he's not. The next player has been a Football Manager Wonderkid for the last 3 games. It's Joshua Wagnerman. Wagnerman, here he is, playing for Hamburg in the 2nd tier of German football. He is also natural, by the way, on the left-hand side. So that means, obviously, he becomes a bit of a utility player, which is great. Now, this guy does have some glaring weaknesses. He is nowhere near as good as the technical players we have seen, and to be fair, the mental players that we have seen the last 2 or 3 players before him. But Joshua Wagnerman, he has great physicals. He is 6'2", and we know he is a threat because a lot of people have used him for a long time, and he's still very good. Personally, though, I just don't think he's up to scratch as the players in that B tier. I think they are absolutely solid, and I think Joshua Wagnerman is just not quite there. One of the best names for a Wonderkid, Liberato Cacace, the New Zealand left back. Only 19 years of age, but he has a potential range of 170, and he plays for St. Truidense in the Belgian leagues. Now, we have seen a few iterations of Liberato Cacace set to his maximum, and each time he has been quite impressive. This, I mean, his mental attributes are decent, it just doesn't look it because he has that teamwork, vision, work rate, composure, which is all great. It's just kind of low in concentration. Well, concentration is 14, it's not actually that bad. Decision making of 12. Anticipation and bravery is 13. It's not actually that bad, to be honest. His technical attributes are great. There's a lot of 15s in there, and his physicals are one of the best that we have seen so far. Only jump and reach of 14 is the lowest there, which isn't a green, and he's 6 foot anyway. So on that left-hand side, he's still going to be quite good at winning the ball in the air. And a lot of his physical attributes are... That's my phone dropping out of my pocket. Anyway, I've completely lost track of what I was going to say. Let's just stick him in the tier list. This puts me in a tricky situation, but I do think Liberato, although he is one of my favourite Wonderkids on this list, I'm going to stick him in the C tier. This just shows that I have no bias. Nico Serrano, of course, was in one of the lower tiers. Spoiler alert, Christ, Luke. Liberato Cacace, I think, goes above Joshua Wagnerman. Luca Netz is the next man on this list, and he also, he is on a youth contract, so you might be able to approach him, and he's quite cheap at the start of the game, like £1 million. So we will take that into consideration. But he is a fantastic fullback on this game. 17 years of age. He's been good for the last couple of years as well. Physicals is absolutely fantastic. He's in the 170 potential range. The mental attributes aren't great, but they're still decent. Like, there's a lot of 14s and 13s in there, and amongst a couple of good off the ball. Going forward, he is very good. He can also play left wing, so I think that obviously plays a part in it. Fantastic work rate, and he's just solid, isn't he, in the technical department? There's nothing special. There's nothing outstanding. He's just solid. But how far does solid get you on the list? I think he slots right in here between Wagnerman and Cacace, Luca Netz. And I think, I mean, let me know if you would disagree. But I think these guys are just slightly better. We hop on a plane to Italy, and Atalanta have Matteo Ruggeri, who is a left-back, 18 years of age, and this is one of the first times I've actually seen him set to his maximum. I've never used this guy, despite actually managing Atalanta in that Perfect Director of Football Challenge, which I know everybody would love to see come back. Maybe one day it will. Now, this guy just looks like he has something missing when you first look at him, and when you take a deeper dive into it, he is quite an appealing player. He is left-footed, plays on the left, but he can also play centre-back. not as well. Very good physically, not amazing. Very good mentally, not amazing. And again, technicals, a lot of 17s. Well, a lot of 17s. He has 117 in crossing, which make him good, but a lot of greens. He's a bit of a set piece taker. Good free kick taking, good corners as well. Technique's fantastic, so he just looks better than what I think he actually is. And I think that makes for the first player to go in that DT. I think the fact that a lot of his attributes that are green are in set pieces rather than in actual technical ability, which helps defensive positioning, means that I cannot stick him any higher, unfortunately. We go back to Germany now, and it's Noah Katterbach. Now, this 19-year-old can actually play in every single position on the pitch other than in goal or up front. And for a very good reason, because when he is set to his max of 170, he is very well-rounded. Only leadership is under 10 here when he is set to his maximum. First off, physicals are absolutely fantastic. A lot of greens in there, only 3 that aren't. His mental attributes are what makes this player fantastic. A lot of 15s and a few 16s too. And even on the technical department where you need a good attribute to be, there is one. In crossing, dribbling, marking, passing and tackling. Not to mention he has great technique too. Noah Katterbach, especially because Cologne tend to get themselves relegated in the first couple of seasons, could be a player that you pick up for very cheap at the start of the game, and he is your left back for the next 10 years. And for that good reason, does he go above? I think I'm going to put him in the A tier. I didn't expect this to happen, but I really like Noah Katterbach when he's set to his maximum, looking at him there. And for that reason that I've seen him go for so cheap, that's where I'm going to put him. But here we go. This is the 180 potential range player alongside Alphonso Davies. It's Nuno Mendes. Now, a lot of people know about this guy. He's 11 million at the start of the game, and I think you could pick him up for roughly about £40 million. He is absolutely exceptional. Playing for Sporting, and there just isn't a weakness. There's a lot of physicals there which are great, 17s and 16s. The mental attributes where you need it is great, and again the technicals going forward, he's a beast, and he also has good tackling and decent marking attributes. Let's just cut to the chase. I'm going to stick him in the S tier because I have used him in this game. He is absolutely phenomenal, and I know a lot of you will have used him too. Nuno Mendes is first man in that S tier. Wolves fans, Ryan Ait-Nouri. At the time of recording this, you're trying to pick him up on a permanent, and for a very good reason. He's a fantastic young player. 19 years of age, now 20 in real life. That's when you're trying to get him from Angers. Physicals are great. Mentals, a lot of 14s in the middle there, which you underestimate how good he actually is. 15s as well, dotted around. And going forward, he's one of the best on this list. Great crossing, first touch, dribbling, passing, tackling technique, the ones that we like to see. He's solid as a wingback. He's solid as a fullback. Where does he go on the tier list? I've got a feeling we're gonna be maxing out this B tier list, because I'm gonna put him here. I'm actually gonna put him in front of these two young men here. No, I'm not. No, I'm gonna put him in front of David de la Vibora, whatever I can't remember what he's called. David. I'm just gonna call him David. David with the funky hair. He goes there. That rhymed. Let's move on. Riccardo Calafiori is a man that you can pick up for around about £5 million. We did a Wonderkid spotlight on him, and he is absolutely class. An amazing left back. 18 years of age at the start of the game, can play as a natural wingback or a fullback, has great physicals, has good mentals, and exceptionally good technical attributes when he is set to 170. There's no question where I want to put this guy. I want to stick him straight in the A tier. He goes alongside Noah Katterbach. I'm going to put him above Noah Katterbach in that A tier because I like him and he's £5 million. And for that reason, he goes above Alphonso Davies as well. I like that. Now, we've already had one Barcelona player on the list, and now we've got a second. This time on the right back row, it's Serginho Dest, the young American. We picked him up from Ajax. I say we. They picked him up from Ajax youth team last season. When he's set to his max of 170, he looks okay. There's just nothing special about him. He has great pace. He has good technical attributes going forward, but tackling of 14, marking of 12, heading of only 11. Something missing. And unfortunately, I'm going to stick him in the D tier. I don't know what it is about him. There's just something missing. Although he can play on both wings, which does actually add a little bit to it. I think maybe I'm being slightly harsh. No, I'm going to stick him in the D tier. I'm going to keep him there. An Irish player up next, playing for Crystal Palace, the 16-year-old Teo Adaramola. Now, this guy's 17 years of age. When you set him to his maximum of 170, There's a lot to like about this guy, great agility and pace. He has 20 off the ball, meaning going forward, if you had him as a wingback, he's going to be incredible, and he has 15 finishing. So if you can somehow make him like underlap and he finds himself in the box, he might score a lot of goals, which is quite bizarre. He also has great vision as well. Although he has those really good technicals in the attacking range, he doesn't have the best defensive attributes. 14 tackling there, 12 marking. He's still really good, 16 years of age. Let's see where we put him. One thing to take into consideration is how cheap he actually is at the start as well. It's very cheap. I'm going to stick him in the C tier, but I'm going to put him at the top of the C tier because of how cheap he actually is. I really like him. There's just a few flaws, but he is exceptionally good. Thierry Small, in my opinion, could be one of the best players on this list. About 500k you can pick Thierry Small up for, from the Everton's youth team, 16 years of age. Can go further forward too, can play as a wingback, 19 acceleration, a lot of 17s here, natural fitness, pace as well, and he has the strength to back it up too. Mental attributes, again that aggression, don't underestimate how good aggression is. It's not about how dirty they are in a tackle, that's a separate attribute, that is hidden dirtiness. Don't worry about that, that's how fast he gets to the opponent. So that's actually quite a good thing for gegenpress formations, which a lot of people use. Work rate and teamwork is also fantastic. Good decision maker, his mental's arguably the best on this list. Technical attributes aren't the best, but some of them are really good for where you need them. Tackling 16, passing 16, marking's the only one that lets him down here. Heading 17, first touch 15, dribbling 16. I like this guy a lot. And the price, 500k, amazing. And that means I'm going to stick him in the A tier. There's a few guys in this A tier and I just think he is good enough to pop in there alongside of him. There's one guy left. He also has fantastic care. Is he as good as David Ter? Well, maybe. It is the young Portuguese player on loan at Reading, Thomas Esteves, 18 years of age. Now, when we set to his maximum of 170, a lot of 17s there in the physical department. There again, there's just some glaring weaknesses in my opinion in the mentals. There's just a few 13s and 14s. It's nothing too special. Not a bad player by any stretch of the imagination, and his technical attributes are also really good too. He does come at a bit of a hefty cost though. That's the only downside to him compared to some of the other players on this list. Where do we put him though? Okay, I think he goes above Joshua Wagnerman, but not above Luca Netz. I think he slots perfectly into this role, and I am actually really happy with this list and how it has unfolded. The B and the C tier, this is how it should look, I guess. A couple in the D tier, which is not quite as good. That A tier is absolutely solid, and if you had those as your left backs, unbelievable. Those 4 players there are insane. And the S tier, of course, Nuno Mendes, in my opinion, is just elite. Absolutely elite. Caligari is very unlucky. And in fact, because Caligari is the only right back outside of those 5 there, he goes in the A tier. He gets bumped up. Yes, Caligari. Happy with that. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. We have goalkeepers and we have centre attack and midfielder players left. Those will be in the next couple of weeks. Thank you very much for continuing to support this series and supporting the channel. Drop a like on the video and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.